He asked the monk for advice. The answer was nothing like he expected. Imagine a man restless and weary. His mind is a storm, swirling with questions about life and purpose. He feels heavy even when everything seems fine. He has tried books, advice, friends, even therapy. Yet nothing sticks, nothing fills the void. In quiet desperation, he finds himself standing before a monk. The man, brimming with anticipation and skepticism, asks, "Master, how can I live a better life?" He expects guidance, a list of rules, a secret formula. But the monk does something unexpected. He studies the man for a long moment, his gaze like the sun touching a still lake. Then he says simply, "Stop asking." At first, the man is confused. "Stop asking?" he repeats. "But I need guidance. I need answers." The monk smiles softly, a smile that seems both kind and unyielding. He says, "You are looking outside for something that exists only within." Life responds to presence. You are asking because you are afraid of your own silence. You are trying to control the river when all you need to do is float. The words hit like cold water, sharp and awakening. For a moment, the man feels offended. As he looks into those steady eyes, he begins to sense a subtle truth. The tension in his chest loosens. He decides to stay, to walk with the monk through the quiet forest. The leaves whisper underfoot. The monk speaks again, but now in a different rhythm. Most people live as if life owes them answers. They chase advice like children chasing shadows. But what you seek cannot be given. It is discovered. The man tries to argue, to insist that he needs direction. The monk listens, then says, "Do you ever notice the wind?" The monk gestures to the trees, their branches swaying gently. Yes, the wind does not ask permission to move. It does not wait for an answer. It simply flows. And yet, everything bends, everything responds to it. It does not force, it does not demand. It moves, and life moves with it. Why do you not do the same? The man is struck by the simplicity of the metaphor. He thinks about the years he has spent overthinking. Every decision is a storm of what-ifs and shoulds. Every relationship is filtered through fear of failure. And yet here is the wind, moving effortlessly, shaping the world without striving. The monk continues, "To live well, you must learn the art of allowing. Struggle is not always necessary. The world is not your opponent. Your mind is not your master. Flow, not control, is the key." Days pass, and the man begins to notice small shifts. He wakes before dawn, not because he set an alarm. He sits by the river, letting the water flow without expectation. He feels thoughts arise and pass, like leaves drifting on the surface, and he no longer clings to them. In the quiet, he begins to hear himself. Not the self he presents to others, but the deeper self that simply exists. One morning, he asks, "Am I doing it right?" The monk laughs, a sound like distant chimes. There is no right. There is only noticing. There is only being. It is during a walk along a rocky ridge that the real lesson begins to crystallize. The monk stops at the edge, looking out over the valley below. Clouds drift lazily, mountains rise like silent sentinels. "Look at the valley," the monk says. "Do you see how it receives the rivers, how it does not fight the stones? It allows itself to be shaped, yet it remains itself. This is life. To be open, to accept what comes. To learn from the stones in your path, but never lose the essence of who you are. This is freedom." The man nods slowly, feeling both enlightened and overwhelmed. "But what about suffering?" He asks, "How do I avoid pain?" The monk shakes his head. "You cannot. Pain is a teacher disguised as a thief. It will take, it will challenge, but it will also awaken. Like the fire that purifies gold, suffering burns away illusions. To resist it is to resist life itself. To embrace it, to walk through it with eyes open, is to find strength." A week turns into 2, and the man begins to understand that life is not a series of instructions to follow, but a canvas to engage with. Each moment is a brushstroke, each choice a color. He notices the small things, the warmth of sunlight on his face, the rhythm of his breath, the sound of birds. And he realizes that in chasing answers, he had overlooked the question that mattered most: how to be fully present. One evening, as the sky blazes with the colors of sunset, the man asks the monk one final question. "Master, if I take one lesson from all of this, what should it be?" The monk looks at him, eyes reflecting the last light. "There is no lesson, only life. But if you insist on words, remember this. Stop seeking outside yourself. What can only be found within? Stop asking for answers and start noticing the world and your place in it. Flow like the wind, endure like the river, and bend like the trees. And in that simple surrender, you will find freedom. The man walks back through the forest alone, carrying no list of instructions, no secret formula. Only a profound stillness that he has never known. And yet, paradoxically, he feels more equipped than ever. He realizes that advice, no matter how wise, is only meaningful when it awakens something already present inside. The monk had not given him answers. He had given him the space to discover his own. And in that discovery, the man feels a shift, a subtle but undeniable realignment of his being. Days later, he returns to the city, but nothing is the same. The noise, the rush, the relentless pursuit of outcomes. It all exists, but he experiences it differently. He notices the impatience in others without absorbing it. He feels desires arise without clinging to them. He acts, but does not force. He plans, but does not obsess. He listens, not just with ears, but with presence. And he understands finally that the monk's advice was never a set of steps. It was an invitation to awaken, to live in harmony with the flow of existence, and to honor the subtle, quiet wisdom that has always resided within. One day, a friend notices a change in him. "You seem different," the friend says. "Happier, calmer. What happened?" The man smiles, knowing any explanation will fall short. "I stopped looking for answers," he says simply. "And I started listening." The friend frowns, puzzled, but the man doesn't try to explain. Some things cannot be explained. They can only be lived. And as he continues through his life, he notices something remarkable. The more he stops striving for answers, the more clarity arises. The more he stops clinging to certainty, the more opportunity appears. The more he stops fearing the unknown, the more freedom he feels. It is a paradox, a twist the world often hides. The harder you chase, the further it runs. The more you allow, the more it comes to you. And here lies the final truth the monk left him with. Life is not about finding answers. It is about finding yourself in the questions. The world will always be uncertain, chaotic, and sometimes painful. But within you exists a stillness, a clarity, a wisdom that is unshakable. Your role is not to conquer life, but to engage with it fully, deeply, and consciously. To walk with eyes open, heart open, and mind still. To embrace both the beauty and the difficulty, knowing each shapes you, each teaches you, and each leads you closer to the essence of your being. The man thinks of the monk often, of the quiet eyes, the simple yet profound words, the way presence alone can transform a life. And he realizes that advice is only as valuable as the change it inspires within you. The monk's wisdom was not a map, but a mirror, reflecting the potential, the depth, and the resilience already present inside him. He understands now that the greatest journey is not across mountains or rivers, but into the heart of one's own existence. And as the sun sets over the city skyline, he sits quietly, feeling the rhythm of life pulse beneath his skin. The questions remain, the uncertainties linger, but the anxiety has lifted. He has discovered the most powerful truth, that answers matter less than awareness. That wisdom is less about knowing and more about being, that freedom is born not from control, but from surrender. And in that surrender he smiles, because he knows he is finally awake. If you feel restless, lost, or endlessly searching for answers, remember this story. Pause. Stop asking for advice that will never truly satisfy. Look inward. Notice the world. Feel the flow of life around you and the flow of life within you. Allow the stillness to speak. Trust the process of discovery. And you may find, as he did, that the guidance you seek has always been inside you, waiting for you to stop, breathe, and finally hear it. If this story resonated with you, if you feel a spark of understanding or a gentle nudge toward presence, I invite you to take action now. Leave a comment sharing your thoughts or a moment when you discovered something unexpected about yourself. Hit the like button if this video gave you a moment of clarity. And most importantly, subscribe to Echoes of Greatness for more stories, lessons, and insights that awaken the mind, stir the heart, and illuminate the path of your life. Remember, the journey is not in the answers, it is in the awakening. And your awakening starts today.